The galactic Concord was ancient beyond comprehension. Civilizations had risen and fallen under its watch. Their histories turned to dust while the Concord endured. Its members included beings of living plasma, hive minds that spanned entire moons, and intellects that measured time in the cooling of stars. Among them, one race stood tallest, the Kethar Dominion, the oldest living species in the known galaxy. The Kethar were revered as historians, scientists, and philosophers. Yet for all their age and wisdom, they were also deeply cautious. They studied from afar, avoided wars, and watched the younger species with detached curiosity. But there was one exception to their quiet observation: Earth. Every time the Concord proposed sending envoys to humanity, the Kethar refused. When humans requested entry into the Concord, the Kethar vetoed it without explanation. Even when other species argued that humans had shown immense progress, faster-than-light travel, terraforming mastery, even peace among their fractured nations, the Kethar said only one thing: "We will not speak with those who walk beside the Inhuman." At first, the phrase meant nothing to the Concord. Inhuman was assumed to be an insult, a misunderstanding of humanity's chaotic nature. But over time, whispers began to spread that the Kethar, with all their age and memory, had encountered something before. Something they now saw reflected in humanity's shadow. No one dared press them further. Until Captain Rhea Morgan of the Earth Expeditionary Corps decided to find out the truth. She had studied the Kethar all her life, fascinated by their refusal to even acknowledge Earth's existence. Now, as the commander of the ESS Pathfinder, she had been authorized to approach Kethar space, not in defiance, but as a request for dialogue. Her ship carried translators, gifts of culture, and a message of peace. But as they neared the borders of Kethar space, something strange happened. Transmission came through. Not words, a warning. The voice was ancient, layered with tones no human ear could fully process. "Turn back, children of Earth. You were not invited here. Leave before it notices you." Rhea frowned as the crew exchanged uneasy glances. "Before it notices us? Who is it?" No response came. Only static. They pressed onward. The Kethar's worlds shimmered like jewels. Oceans of violet crystal, mountains carved into geometric perfection, cities that seemed to hum with thought itself. The Kethar had not built their world to impress visitors. They had built it to last until the end of time. Rhea stood at the observation deck, gazing at the alien beauty, when her second officer, Lieutenant Harlan, approached. "They're hailing us again." "But, Captain, it's not the Kethar Council. It's an individual. Put it through." The hollow display shimmered, revealing a tall figure, humanoid, though its form rippled as though made of mist and light. Its face was elongated, its eyes glowing silver. "I am Archivist Tvor, eldest of the Kethar. You should not have come." Rhea kept her voice calm. "Archivist Tvor, we come in peace. We wish to understand why your people avoid us. Humanity means no harm." The alien tilted its head, studying her as if she were a dangerous animal. "You mean no harm," it repeated softly, "and yet harm follows you as a shadow follows the sun. You do not know what walks among you." Rhea frowned. "If you're talking about our history, our wars, our mistakes, we've learned from them." "No," said the archivist. "Not your wars. Not your cruelty. It is something older. Something that even we cannot face. Do you think we fear humans? Well, we fear what made you." The words sent a chill down her spine. "What made us?" Tvor's form flickered, as if he were struggling against something unseen. "You are not the first children to walk upright. The stars remember others, races born of the same soil, shaped by the same invisible hand. We believed them gone, erased when they defied their maker. But now we see its touch again. In your species. Rhea took a slow breath. You're saying humanity was created by something else. The Archivist's voice lowered to a whisper that vibrated through the hull. By the Inhuman. It wears no flesh, no form. Seeds worlds and watches what grows. We thought it left this galaxy ages ago. We were wrong. When your kind looked at the stars and answered back, it stirred once more. Before Rhea could reply, alarms blared across the bridge. The navigator shouted, "Something's entering our sensor range. Not Kethar ships. Unknown origin." Rhea turned to the display. A distortion in space like a hole being torn open. Light bled from the rift, stretching across the void like the fingers of something enormous. The stars themselves seemed to bend around it. The Kethar vessel that had been communicating with them began to retreat rapidly. "Archivist Vor," Rhea called. "What is that?" His expression was unreadable. "You brought its gaze here." Then the transmission cut. Moments later, a wave of static swept through every sensor, blinding the Pathfinder. The lights flickered, the hull vibrated, and an overwhelming sense of presence filled the ship, as if something vast and unseen had turned its attention toward them. Rhea gripped the console, trying to steady herself. "Report." Harlan's voice trembled. "No readings, Captain. Not a ship. It's not even matter. It's..." Then every screen lit up with a single symbol. Not human, not Kethar. Something primal, carved in light and shadow. Pulsed like a heartbeat. A voice spoke, not through the speakers but through their minds. "My children have found their tongues again." Every crew member froze. Some screamed, others collapsed as their minds filled with impossible images. Visions of endless stars, of ancient worlds crumbling, of creatures made of light and hunger kneeling before a faceless presence. Rhea staggered, clutching her head. "Who are you?" she gasped. "I am what was before life learned fear," the voice said. "The Kethar remember me. They remember my judgment. They hide because they know I will finish what I began." Through the viewport, the distortion grew. Now a swirling storm of golden light, at its center a figure forming. It was humanoid, but its proportions were wrong. Too tall, too fluid, like reality itself resisted its presence. The lights died completely. Only the stars remained. Then in the silence, Rhea heard it whisper, not in her ears but in her soul. "You carry my spark. My unfinished work." She could not speak. The figure stepped forward, closer to their ship, though there was no space between them. It was both outside and inside at once. "Tell your kind. They were not made in their image. They were made in mine." And then, as quickly as it had appeared, it vanished. The distortion sealed itself. The stars returned to their rightful places, and the instruments slowly flickered back online. The Pathfinder floated in silence. The Kethar fleet had vanished. No signals, no transmissions. Nothing but empty space. Rhea's hands trembled as she tried to steady her breath. "Harlan," she said softly, "tell me we recorded that." He nodded weakly. "We did, Captain. Every word." Rhea turned to the stars, her eyes wide with awe and dread. Whatever that thing was, whatever inhuman meant, the Kethar hadn't been avoiding humanity out of fear of humans. They had been avoiding us because of what might still be watching through us. Something older than gods. Something that wasn't finished. For 3 days, the ESS Pathfinder drifted in orbit, its crew silent and haunted. The recordings of the event were analyzed again and again, yet the data made no sense. The readings defied every known law of physics. No measurable energy source, no particle emissions, Not even gravitational distortion remained. It was as if the incident had been erased by the universe itself. Captain Rhea Morgan had not slept since. Her dreams were filled with flashes, a golden light, a voice that spoke from within her own thoughts, and the terrible calm that came with it. She had seen horrors in her career, but nothing had ever made her feel small before. This did. On the 4th day, the Kethar returned. A single vessel appeared on long-range scans, its energy signature faint and unstable. The crew braced for contact. When the transmission came through, it was the Archivist once again, but his image was fractured, shimmering as if struggling to remain coherent. "You live," he said weakly. "Then it has not chosen to consume you yet." Rhea leaned forward. "Archivist, we need answers. What was that thing? You called it the Inhuman. What does it want?" Tor's eyes dimmed. "To remember what it was. To remake what it lost." "I don't understand." The Archivist closed his eyes. Before the dawn of the Concord, before even the Kethar learned speech, the stars belonged to it. A consciousness without form, a will that sought to give order to chaos. It seeded life across thousands of worlds, shaping them, teaching them to reach upward. But one world resisted, a world whose creations refused to kneel. Rhea's breath caught. "Earth." "No," Tvor said. "Another long dead. The first world of rebellion. Your Earth is the second. When the Inhumans' first children defied it, they were unmade. Yet the echo of their defiance lingered in the pattern of creation itself. You, humanity, are that echo made flesh." He paused, his form flickering. "It feared you would awaken what once destroyed its dominion. That is why we hid. We saw what happens when it notices a species that carries the spark of disobedience." Rhea clenched her fists. "You said it creates life. Why fear something that gives creation?" "Because it does not understand freedom," Tvor whispered. "To it, creation is obedience. To live outside its design is corruption. You are not its children. You are its mistake, a seed that grew wild." Static tore through the transmission. Tvor's voice strained. "It will not stop now. As found you. It will come to see what became of its wayward offspring. You must hide as we did or be erased." Then the signal vanished. The Kethar ship imploded silently, reduced to a cloud of shimmering dust. The crew stared in stunned silence. Lieutenant Harlan turned to Rhea, his face pale. "Captain, if what he said is true, what are we supposed to do? Hide from a god?" Rhea looked out at the stars. "Maybe we don't hide. Maybe we do what humans have always done when the universe tells us to kneel." She activated the ship's communication system and began recording a message. Not to the Kethar but to Earth. "This is Captain Rhea Morgan of the ESS Pathfinder. We made contact with the Kethar Dominion. They fear something they call the Inhuman, a being that claims it created life across the galaxy, including us. It found us and it spoke through us. It may be coming." She paused, then continued, her voice firm. "But we are not its children. We are not its servants. Humanity does not bow to anything that demands silence. If it made us to obey, then we will defy it. If it made us to follow, we will lead. If it made us as a mistake, then we will prove that even mistakes can build empires among the stars." The recording was transmitted on every open frequency, echoing across the void. Moments later, every ship in the Earth fleet received it. Then the colonies. Then the outposts. Across thousands of light years the word spread. We are not its children. Weeks passed. Nothing came. No golden light, no voice in the void. Then, one night, as Rhea sat alone in her cabin, the ship's lights dimmed for an instant. A whisper brushed her mind. Defiance again. How curious. Her heart pounded. You're still watching. Always, the voice said. I made you in my image. Yet you refuse it. You burn with the spark that destroyed my first design. Rhea took a deep breath. Maybe you should ask yourself why your creations keep rejecting you. Silence followed. Then, a faint tremor like distant laughter. Perhaps I will. And the voice was gone. Days later, new signals began to appear across the Concord. Faint anomalies at the edges of space, ripples that spread like a heartbeat. The Kethar called them the Second Awakening. Other species fled their systems, convinced the Inhuman was returning. But humanity did not flee. They built faster ships, stronger weapons, deeper alliances. They had stared into something that dwarfed gods and refused to break. Rhea stood on the bridge of her ship, now refitted and renamed the Defiant Dawn. The stars shimmered ahead like endless challenge. Harlan approached quietly. Do you think it'll come back? Rhea smiled faintly. It will. But when it does, it'll find something it never created. Unity born of fear, courage born of defiance. She turned toward the stars. If it wants to claim its creation, it'll have to fight for it. The engines roared to life, and the defiant dawn surged forward into the unknown. Behind her, Earth listened to her broadcast on every frequency, every colony repeating her words as a vow. We are not its children. We are the ones who learn to walk without gods. And when the Inhuman returns, it will find humanity waiting.